we find that after Yaakov and Esav had met, after being separated for 36 years, they both had tremendous wealth. And the Torah tells us the land of Canaan could not carry both of them. And Esav chose to go to Mount Seir. He left Canaan. Esav could have demanded of Yaakov that he's the one who should have left Canaan, and he would have remained, especially Esav being the firstborn, the Bechor. He could have demanded this, and he should have demanded it. The Talmud tells us that when Yosef and his brothers had taken Yaakov to bury him in the tomb of Machpelah, at that moment Esav arrives, and Esav says, "You have no right to bury Yaakov in the tomb of Machpelah. I, the son of Yitzchak, have a right to be buried here. And one of the graves he used for his wife, Leah. Therefore, the remaining grave is rightfully mine." And he demanded it. And he would not back down on his position. And the Talmud tells us that because Yaakov was lying in disgrace, Hushim, the son of Dun, was his only child, his only son, could not tolerate the disrespect and the disgrace to Yaakov, his grandfather. He became infuriated and he decapitated Esav for this level of disrespect. But Esav made the demand. He wanted the burial location to Machpelah. Wanted Esav demand the right to be the one to remain in Canaan, and Yaakov should have left the land. But yet, Esav was agreeable to leave the land to go to Har Seir, Mount Seir. Rashi cites the Midrash that there was a debt to pay. Whoever would keep the land had to pay a very weighty debt. The debt was you'd have to go into bondage to Egypt. Whoever was the heir of Canaan would go to Egypt to fulfill the covenant between the parts that Hashem had said to Avram, "Strangers will your children be in a land that is not theirs. They will be enslaved and afflicted." Esav wanted nothing of this. And therefore he fled the land to go to Mount Seir. And he left the land for Yaakov that he should carry the liability and the debt of bondage. This is why Yaakov and his family went to Egypt to pay the debt. Moshe was told by God that when he comes to Pharaoh, he should quantify the relationship between God and the Jewish people. And he should say, "B'ni b'chori Yisrael," my son, the firstborn is Yisrael. Israel is Yaakov. This was a confirmation that the birthright was rightfully Yaakov's. When he purchased it from Esav years earlier, and this is beyond the life of Yaakov, God is saying the children of Yaakov, the family of Yaakov, are the equivalent of B'ni B'chori Yisrael. You are my firstborn, my son, Israel. The Jewish people are actually have the birthright with all that it entails. And this exactly is what happened. Since Yaakov assumed the debt, which was understandable, Esav had no relevance to be the heir of his father, the spiritual heir. Yaakov was the natural heir. Yaakov, who was the man of the tent, the man who personified Torah. This is the Kol Yaakov Hayodayim de Esav. The voice is the voice of Jacob. The voice of Jacob is prayer and Torah. Therefore, who is God's child, firstborn, one and only? This is the Jewish people. We find that Moshe, at the end of his life, he says to the Jewish people, Bonim atem l'Hashem Elokechem, you are God's children. And therefore, because you're God's children, there is a special relationship between a father and a child. A father tolerates many things that a child will do, although it may be considered a disrespect. There's a certain attribute of mercy, as we say, Karachim Oval Bonim. As a father has mercy over his children, over his sons, God should have mercy upon us. Moshe Rabbeinu, on the other hand, says, just as a father disciplines his child, identically, God disciplines us, meaning, although the child may be punished, but it's for disciplinary reasons, not to hurt the child. Identically, when God brings suffering on the Jew, it's not to hurt the Jew, but rather it's either disciplinary or it's rehabilitative to bring the Jew to a level of reinstatement. This is the nature of the relationship between God and the Jewish people. And just as a parent, when he sees his child suffering, the parent is pained by the pain of the child. Identically, the Jewish people, being the children of God, when we were in bondage, being tortured, killed, persecuted, discriminated against, God was pained for our pain. That is the relationship between the father and the son. The Maharal of Prague writes, cites a midrash, we find that God speaks to Avram, and he repeats Avram's name, Avram, Avram. Samuel the prophet, who was a prophet, God says, Shmuel, Shmuel. There is a comma between Avram and Avram, meaning a pause, and there's a pause between Shmuel and Shmuel when God communicates to each of them. At the burning bush, when initially God summoned Moshe, it says Moshe, Moshe, without any pause, without a comma. So the question is why? Why in regard to Moshe, Moshe, when the name is repeated, there is no pause, and regarding Avram there is, and the same is true regarding Shmuel, the prophet. So the Maharal explains that because of the urgency of the moment, that the Jews are in bondage, God's children are suffering, there is no pause. Moshe, Moshe, you must go immediately. The moment is already delayed. There's an urgency. When he speaks to Avram, we're not speaking within the context of anything urgent. It's the expression of love. Avram, pause Avram. Shmuel, pause Shmuel. But Moshe, Moshe was born to be the Redeemer of Israel. And when it's his time to be sent and to act as God's agent, the summoning is with immediacy and with urgency. Therefore, there's no pause between one name of Moshe and the other name when it's being repeated.